Hello, everybody. It's Jason Up. It's the New 80s Revolution. And I'm down here in the cave. And it's Saturday. No, it's Friday. It's Friday. So Genesee Brewery, if you go to your better grocery stores, Genesee Brewery apparently is making these Brewers series. And this is like an imperial stout from a brewery in Rochester, New York. So, you know, is it is it your Guinness? No, but it's your Genesee Brewery Imperial Stout. And it's, you know, it's your local brewery. You really just got to stick with the Jenny Light. That's your crisp American lager. Anyway, hello everyone. It's Friday Family Fun Day here in the New 80s Revolution household. That's right. Fridays we have the Children's Bowling League. Both children bowl on their own teams respectively. And then we go out to dinner to the same place. It's a little country kitchen here in good old Hilton, New York. Rochester, New York is the city that I live in. Hilton, New York is a little village, a little town. And we have our dinner. And then tonight we're going to come home and kick off the holiday movie binge, the Christmas movie. I believe we're going to start with Curious George Christmas, which we watch probably twice a year. And then Liam finishes Iron Man, the first Iron Man tonight. He's jumped in the world of Marvel. So it's a fun night. It's a fun night here in the household. I think there's going to be a trip to the at-home store to grab maybe a new Christmas decoration. We add more Christmas decorations every year. And then Home Depot and Bed Bath & Beyond, if there's time. If there's time. All right. Whatever happened to? I tried to come up with a title. It's a long-winded title. Whatever happened to kids playing sports outside? You look at it and you go, what are you talking about, New 80s Revolution? What are you talking about? Well, my two children, this is the first year that they're both interested in football. They're not going to play football formally because I don't need concussed children. But we're playing football in the front yard, and it's become a bit of an obsession. We've got a couple of really great Nerf footballs, and I'd say for the past 2 weeks, let's say 14 days, we have played football probably 15 times. Because every moment I get home from work, at 7 o'clock at night sometimes, they're saying, let's go play football. It's dark out here, even though it's a balmy 72 today. That's right, balmy 72. No reason for that. No. We play in the dark. It's fun, kind of. But it's become their obsession of the week. So, you know, it made me think as I'm out there. It's one-on-one football, of course. It's the 10-year-old versus the 6-year-old. In two-hand touch. Or if they have come to refer to it as two-hand tag. And then there's me. And what am I going to do? Well, I'm this magical thing called the all-time QB. That's right. I bounce back and forth between teams as the all-time QB. And it made me think about playing sports outside as a kid, and what an opportunity that was to become an all-star athlete, an unofficial all-star athlete. We all did. We all became all-star athletes with our play outside sports career. I will tell you, it began. The very first sport I remember playing outside was bowling. So I've always been an imaginative kid, or I was an imaginative kid. So when I was playing bowling outside, I would turn it into like a whole thing. So we had, so the childhood home. I keep referencing the childhood home. I'm just gonna from this point on the show, and this is a very important moment for you people to grasp. From this point on in the channel, I'm going to refer to the childhood home as West Cannon, because that's the street name, West Cannon. And there's a tattoo that says West Cannon here on my arm. So when I say West Cannon, that's the childhood home. So back on West Cannon, we had a long porch, and I have the watercolor of the house there, but you can't really see the porch. But we had a long porch. This was a house called a split level, and the house kind of went like this, roof, and then house. So it had a long porch. And it was perfect for bowling. And I was a bowling enthusiast at 8 years old. And I would set up plastic bowling pins at one end of the porch, and I would bowl on the other end. Now, those plastic bowling pins come with a plastic ball. I never, ever, ever used the plastic ball because the ratio to pin weight to ball weight was not correct. So those balls were horrible. So I would use a softball. And I would bowl, and I would bowl for hours on that porch. I truly would, and I would turn it into a thing. It was just me, but I didn't want to bowl against just me, so I would be two different people, and I would keep score. And so it would be kind of like a league or a tournament or whatever, but I would bowl against other people, other names that were me. And it was often the kids from elementary school. I was not lonely. I mean, that sounds like I'm a lonely kid. I wasn't lonely, but I would bowl against fictional characters that I also would play the role of, and it was awesome. It was incredible fun, and my neighbors, Mike and Mary, an old couple, and I remember Mike had like a back brace, like one of these really it was 1984, so really one of these like primitive back braces that he would just like walk around on. They would always notice me playing bowling on the front porch for hours, and one day they gave me a box of real bowling pins and like a 12-pound real bowling ball. And so I would set that up, and I would bowl with the real bowling pins, but the ball was too heavy for me. The ball was too heavy, and so I would like use two hands. And at one point, I scraped my finger. As I was bowling, I scraped my finger in between the ball and the cement porch. Okay? And ripped my nail off. Yes, it was, I forget which nail it was. It was one of these nails. It was either I think it was my middle finger, which I can't show you right now. But I ripped my middle fingernail off. At 8 years old, bowling on the porch with a 12-pound ball that was way too heavy for me. Thanks, Mike and Mary. And I remember crying in the bathtub because for some reason when you rip your nail off, you get in the bath. Your mom puts you in the bathtub. I don't know why. But I was in the bathtub and the nail was just kind of hanging, and my mom was freaking out. What do we do? Whatever that noise is. You know you're in trouble when your mother makes that noise, right? Okay, so the nail comes off in the bathtub, and I'm losing my mind, and she's on the phone with the doctor. But I don't know what to do. So anyway, that was my first sport. My first sport was individual bowling on the West Cannon porch. Also at West Cannon, as I started to make new friends in the neighborhood, we got quite a little kickball league going. And that was a blast. And again, you hear like our generation talking about kids don't go outside. And when I was a kid, we'd play the sun up to sundown. It's true. It's true. We're not exaggerating. It's true. And we were so excited that come 9, 10 o'clock in the morning on a summer morning, all the kids were gathered in my front yard because I had a base pattern, right? I I had we had a well we for first base we had to use a frisbee. So first base was a frisbee, second base was a tree, and third base was a little gas cap that we actually had in the yard. I don't know why it was there. I've never seen it at any other house before, but we had there was a cap, and it was a gas line. I don't know. We had a sewer system. We had, I don't know why there was a gas cap in the yard, but we had it. And it was at ground level, so you wouldn't really trip over it, but it was there. That was third base. And man, we would play. We would play and play and play. And it was usually like 2-on-2, 2-on-2 kickball. And that was the first real sport that we all played, was kickball. And you didn't have an actual kickball, the ones that go thump. You didn't actually have one of those. So we would use a basketball. We would use a Nerf ball, like a Nerf soccer ball. We would use an actual soccer ball. I mean, it didn't matter. Whatever ball we had was kickball. And it was so fun until it ended over an argument of out versus safe. Every single game ended with a knockdown, drag-out war over safe versus out. And that was an incredible time. My kids have not yet discovered kickball, but what a beautiful time kickball was. From there, I think football came into my life, and I remember playing with a kid named Matt Perry, who also lived one street over from West Cannon. And we would get together, and he would come over, and we would play one-on-one football. And you know what? How do you play one-on-one football, guys? How do you do it? How do you do it? It doesn't matter how you do it. You just do it. And you have a good time with it. And Matt Perry and I would play one-on-one football. And I think it was two-hand touch. I'm trying to remember the concept. I assume it would be two-hand touch. We'd kick the ball off to each other. And as kids, you know that kicking the ball off is throwing the ball. Okay? So you'd throw the ball off, end zone to end zone. And, the receiving player would catch the ball and then try to run and get two-hand touch. And then it was kind of like, down set hike. And, player one would try to run around and juke out player two. And I don't know. I don't even remember how we counted first downs, or even if we did. Maybe you had 4 downs to score. I don't know. I don't remember. But one-on-one football was next. That was part of my life. Even though it doesn't really qualify as a sport, bike riding obviously was massive at this period of time in our lives. You know that. I know that. Bike riding was massive. I guess the sport part comes in where we are jumping ramps. And what was a ramp back then? It was a piece of plywood and some cinder blocks. And, one cinder block was kind of like entry level, and 2 cinder blocks stacked on top of each other was suicide. And the way we had it set up was, you would start the plywood in the street, but you would angle it towards a yard, because if you're gonna fall and just wipe out, you want to wipe out in the grass, I assume, versus the road rash of the pavement. So that's how we did it. We would jump ramps, and I'm surprised to this day that I was able to produce children because of all the ramp jumping that I did as a kid, and all the destruction to my nether region that I suffered as a result of ramp jumping. And by the way, those little foam pieces that cover the crotch bar of a BMX bike, they don't work. They don't work. You would need like a down comforter, to protect yourself on those things. They don't work. So ramp jumping then followed. So now I'm gonna like fast forward a little bit to I was probably about 13. It was a couple of years before I lived with my grandparents, and I was living in an apartment complex, of course, thanks divorce. And there were a couple of kids in the neighborhood, and that's when my sports career, that's when my athletics career, my Hall of Fame athletics career took off. Because we played basketball, and we played football, and we played the Olympics. Okay, so basketball was usually 2-on-2, 2-on-2 basketball. The apartment complex had a hoop, but we didn't like the rim because, outdoor park rims are really bouncy and really hard to hit. So we didn't like playing at the actual basketball hoop at the complex. So one kid had one of those, wheelie hoops that you see, and we played on that. And, in an apartment complex, you basically have you have like the whole street to play in. And then as, the random car would come down every once in a while, it just move. But you've got a ton of room. And we would play. And in the summertime, sure, there were your random pickup games. But what we would do is we would turn it into a league. Like we turned everything into a league. So you'd have set teams, probably 2 teams each, or 2 teams total in the league. So you would just play each other. But you would keep score, and you would keep statistics. So, at the end of the day, we're all arguing over whether or not, you had 7 rebounds or 8 rebounds, and you just kept stats. And you were very proud of yourself if you were the leading scorer of these 4 kids. It really meant a lot. Football became massive during this period of time, 13, 14 years old. In fact, I was pretty close to becoming a professional football player just based on this interaction at age 13. It's true. I was very close to having a career in football because I could catch everything. And I'm not bragging. I could catch everything. And I was like a one-handed catcher. So I would make these miraculous one-handed catches. And it was so much fun. It was usually 2-on-2. And you'd kind of alternate quarterback, and what a great time. What a great time. We never really tested the tackle waters. We always kept a 2-hand touch. But then, as word spread, because then you'd get a couple of other kids that you found in the complex. Now it's 3-on-3. And now you get a couple of other kids, and now it's 4-on-4, and now it's getting crazy. Then word spreads to school. Okay, word spreads to school. And I remember one day, a carload of 8 kids came. And then we had our 6. So it was 14 kids playing football. And then it got a little bit too much because now you have blockers and running backs, and it was just insane. But it spread. Our little football league spread. And then we did the Olympics. It was summer of '92. And so we did the Olympics. We did track and field Olympics. So we'd have maybe 6 kids, and you would just do events. You would just do events with a stopwatch, and it was all running. And then it was we did shot put with a basketball. Sure, yeah, shot put with a basketball. We did discus with a frisbee. We did the 100-meter dash, which was probably 30 meters. Yeah, and we had the Olympics, and we would give out medals of nothing, really nothing, just a verbal medal of who won. And that those were the apartment days. And then as I got older, again they continued. The sports leagues continued as I got older. I remember being about 17, 18 years old, playing 2-on-2 basketball in my neighborhood. I was living with my grandparents. I had a kid that I was sort of best friends with, and then he had a friend, and then they had a cousin. And so we would meet at the cousin's house, and we would play 2-on-2 basketball. And then we got a video camera. Somebody's mother had a video camera, and we would record ourselves playing. And that was awesome. And so I was still really young-minded at like 18, because me and my friend would then take the highlights of the video camera and do like a Sports Center, like we would record ourselves on Sports Center talking about the basketball game. I don't know. It was just fun. It was stupid and fun. Then what else? So now I'm getting to be like 18, 19 years old, 20 years old. And about 20 years old, before I met my wife, at about 20, I had a group of friends, and we were into drinking and listening to Korn and playing basketball. And so you got like 4 20-year-old guys with one of those portable hoops at the end of a driveway. We're playing in the street, and we're just playing basketball. Like, it's just 2-on-2 basketball. And it's incredibly fun. It's just so fun. Yeah. And then it ended. Like, that was it. That was the end of my sports. And I remember moving into this house. I bought this house about 16 years ago. And when I moved in, on either side of me were kids. So on one side of me, I had let's just say like a 10-year-old and an 8-year-old, brothers living on one side. And then on this side, you got another 8-year-old kid. Well, I became kind of the weirdo that played with the kids, okay? And there was a reason for it. I'll get to that in a minute. But this is when the outdoor sports came back. There was a long hiatus. Then it came back because I would play football with these 3 kids. And usually one of the younger brothers wouldn't play. So usually the 10-year-old, the 8-year-old, and me would play football in our backyard. And I was the all-time quarterback again. And they would literally come to the door and knock on my door and be like, "Can you come out and play?" And I'd be like, "Yeah." And like, their parents didn't think it was weird. Their parents didn't call the police. You know, it was cool. Right? And I was just playing football with these kids, and it was incredible. And now they're all grown up and they're moved out, and every time they come back, their parents, one of the parents still lives here. The other kids just moved out. Their whole family moved out. But when the kids come over, you know, they're like 26, 27 years old, they're drinking a beer, and they're like, "Oh, remember football?" And I was like, "Yeah, man, that was the best." You know, and I did that. I had a method, a reason for that. My reason was to not... My reason was to be the cool guy in the neighborhood, because when all the kids got older and they were like smashing your mailbox and slashing your tires and, you know, stealing your dog and all that stuff, they'd leave me alone, right? They'd leave my house alone because I was the cool neighbor. You know, don't touch that guy. He's the all-time QB. Let's egg the other house. Mission accomplished. And now I get to relive it all again as my children have become interested in front yard football. And as much as I complain about it and say, "Come on, guys, I just got home from work," I love it. You know, I love it, and it just, I'm proud. I'm glad that they have, that it's hit them, that the outdoor sports thing has hit them. We have played basketball in this house together so many times. Horse. One-on-one basketball doesn't really work with a giant and a 6-year-old or a 10-year-old, but we play horse and pig, but football has really, really taken over, and it's so fun because I just remember running out for play, and when I'm like all-time QB, like you pull your teammate and you get the football, or you get your hand and you go, all right, up like this, over, down like that, boom, I'll hit you there. And then what does he do? He goes over here and then up there and then down here, and the play never works anyway. But you draw the play on your hand, right? You draw the play on your hand. And that's outdoor sports anyway. So, of course, leave your memories of outdoor sports. And yeah, man, I think after I upload this, I got to clean up the Halloween stuff, pack it all away, get ready for the Christmas front yard decorations, and then before we hit the bowling league. What do you think they've asked me to do? Can we play some football? Okay. You have your memories. Thanks for listening. We'll see y'all later. Good night now.